We got Card Master Gravy here.
What's up? It's your boy Card Master Gravy, running Tenyi's, went into a tournament, X and 2.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Should I say who I lost against? Because I don't want to.
Yeah, who were your two losses against?
I believe it was, Virtual World and Zodiac Elvish is what I lost to.
Respectable.
Which, I mean, Virtual World is crazy right now. Either way, your boy's running Tenyi's, who are I thought my favorite thing because they use link monsters that are normal type, which just seemed awesome, or non-effect monsters. But first, we got 3 copies of Ashuna. How the Tenyi's work is as long as you don't have effect monsters, you can special them from hand. This one, you can banish from grave to pull another one from the deck, which is pretty crazy. It locks you into worms, which might become a problem, but you never really come across that, especially when you're just trying to link into your boss monster. Next, I run 3 copies of Ashuda. This is the one that lets you return 3 cards back, return a card back to your opponent's hand after banishing it, which again is really awesome against people who at least can be targeted. 3 copies of Ithara. This returns the banished Tenyi back to hand. Shathana. This is the one that can be used in your opponent's turn. Basically, if a non-effect monster is destroyed, you can banish that card to return it back to hand. And then 1 copy of the last 2. This one is anti-target for your non-effect monsters, which is really awesome with a field spell. Actually, it might not actually matter now I think about it. And this one is anti-battle, so it decreases the opponent's attack by 1500, which is really good, especially against Eldritch. We could pop Eldritch with that.
So it's also good for Dragoon then.
Ooh, that's also good, because your highest non-effect monster is 3000, so.
So yeah, you would almost need that for Dragoon. I guess you didn't come across Dragoon at all. Did any of these effects?
Oh, no Dragoons. I had no Dragoons.
Any of these effects come up in like weird scenarios that help you out?
What was it? I know this boy saved me in one situation. I wanted to run a little more of him because having anti-target on the non-effect monsters with the boss monster, which basically forces your opponent to target non-effect monsters, it really does come in handy, especially when I want to run more of them. Next I got 3 Ash Blossom. That's just the hand traps. That's all the hand traps I have. At least all the ones I had room for. As you can see, Tenyi's have a lot of the bulk. Because you want to link climb your ass all the way to the top. But the variant I play, let me just get it down, is, drop the card, Vanity's Fiend.
Interesting.
I love stunning my opponent turn 1. It's the funnest thing in the world because they easily surrender. This with the boss monster is actually insane. So like I said, the boss monster forces your opponent to target non-effect monsters. So that means they can't imperm this. They have to target the non-effect monsters with imperm, so they don't do that. And with the boss monster being able to make a token, if you end the turn with 1 non-effect monster and make a token, that's 2 times they can't target Vanity's Fiend. Probably a scoop as long as they don't, use the best card in the game, Regeki, on you. Last 2 monsters, we got 1 Mare. You can send this from deck, special summon it, easy link 4. Everyone knows Mare. And then last is Black Sea Squatter.
What is this?
Which is what I added to the deck. There's easy ways to get him out, but I like to use him because he's an Earth type level 4 and is a normal monster. So at least it's normal. I can always use some advantage off that. But him with, let me see if I can find him right here. The Earth type number 1, you can get a Churia Beast out. And I find that to be helpful in some situations, but that's why I only run 1 copy. I also have 1 unexpected die, you'll see later. But it's handy sometimes. I went against a Shadal player, and that locked them out of obviously doing any fusions, so it worked really well against him. 3 copies of the best spell card in all of Tenyi. Sends the worm to graveyard is really all it does, but if you have a non-effect monster, you also add a Tenyi to hand, and you obviously add the one that banishes. So you basically get 2 Tenyis out of it, while also sending your memory to the graveyard. Very good card, will always be Ash Blossomed. So that's why. 3 field spells, makes your non-effect monsters unaffected by monster effects, which is also awesome when they're forced to target them. But the best part is when your opponent special summons, you draw 2 cards. And that's always good for no matter what deck you're playing. Oh, different. I got 4 copies. I do 2 copies of a Heavenly Dragon Cycle and 1 Foolish Burial because the graveyard effect lets you search any Tenyi, which is just better than the on-field effect of tributing a worm to add a Tenyi from the deck.
So you use Foolish Burial goods to send.
Yeah. You always want to do that because adding any Tenyi to hand, a Tenyi card, so that means the trap that we'll see later, can also be really good if you already have a pretty stacked hand. Another good thing is Summoner, whenever you have to summon Merman from the graveyard, you discard a card. So I like to discard this card, banish it for a Tenyi, and still get the advantage of getting a Merman to the field. 2 Desires, because they've already ashed my best card. 2 Pug Avarices, because they've already banished me. This is amazing. I like it way too much. You're linking all the time. You basically link all of your monks, which is like the worst thing to do in a Tenyi deck, because once you're out of monks, you can't link anymore. And you just put all 3 back along with like Linkosaurus.
Linkosaurus.
Like you just start linking for no reason just so you can get an extra 2 cards. It's insane.
Did you mean to say Landforest?
What's Linkosaurus?
Linkosaurus isn't a thing. I thought you were just being funny.
I meant Landforest. But I'm mixing 2, don't worry. And the X-Factor die I was talking about earlier.
So that's for the shiny Black Sea.
Yeah, and the last thing is just 3 trap cards. Omni negates as long as you have the non-effect monster. And on the off chance they ever pop it from your side of the field, you get to pop out any non-effect monster, which you'll see. Actually, I'll go and show it. You get the big old boy.
Nice.
The highest attack non-effect monster in the extra deck. Basically, if they pop this, slam that boy on the field. 4,500 attack, beats over anything without you having to worry about it. And we'll actually get the benefits of having your Tenyis engraved, since it is still a non-effect monster. They don't have your Tenyis for you to use them. But onto the extra deck, I'll leave it on the side. Boss monster, Link 4. Makes a token as a quick effect that equals the amount of original attack. Insane, because you have to target the non-effect monsters with his effect. That means their own effect. So, for instance, Unizombie. So, this happened a lot. Unizombie, you have to target a monster and give it a level, and then you can send from the deck. He makes it to where you cannot target effect monsters, even your opponent's effect monsters. So it's a little gimmicky in that case, but them being forced to target your non-effect monsters, say for instance you have a Link monster, you can't give that a level, therefore Unizombie can't use this effect. Doesn't happen that often, but that's one case where that is actually insane.
And that would work for Imperm too.
That would work for Imperm, which is why you run it. 3 of the Link ones, you gotta Link climb from somewhere. I run 2 Shaman.
Is that Prismatic Secret Rare?
Yeah, I got it from my really handsome brother. 2 Shamans. You don't need a whole lot, but this is really a great card because, I mean, as you see, I have some discard options. Summoning the Mermare, it's absolutely insane because that's what you get. Honestly, 1 Tenyi can turn into this with the Vessel for the Dragon cycle. You get the Mermare to graveyard and another Tenyi to hand. With the Mermare engraved, you get a Link 4 on the field and the Link 2. Extra Tenyi in your hand, you can just normal summon, turn into a Link monster, and you have your whole thing. You literally have everything. It's pretty insane. And it has the other effect that I use way more often than I actually remember. When a non-effect monster attacks, you get to pop a card in the field. And that's before it attacks. So that means it can pop the attack monster and then just have that same monster attack directly. Really powerful card. Really powerful card. 2 Berserkers, your big old beat stick. Non-effect monster, so it gets the benefits of being unaffected by monster effects with your field spell, and all of the benefits of using your Tenyi cards with it. Another really good card. I run 1 copy of Draco Master the Tenyi. This is a very good card, but I only use it sometimes. I basically use it when I'm trying to link upwards. It is an effect monster, so you can't typically link climb afterwards, because his effect, you need no other effect monsters, which basically you can pop effect monsters on your opponent's side of the field equal to the number of non-effect monsters on your field and graveyard, which is insane because you got these 3 boys, you got these boys, you got a bunch of other cards that can go along with it. It's actually insane because that's like popping the entire field. Like you literally pop the entire field as long as they have effect monsters. And then you can just link into your boss monster and continue your combo. Again, a really good card. I only use it sometimes. I think I should use it more often. It's very powerful, just a straight Regeki. Link Spider, because sometimes I need a Link monster to link into him. So if I have 3 Mermares, I just turn 1 to Link Spider and then just link for that. Link Rebo could be a better option, but since I do have a normal type, I very rarely see I really see it actually happen where I use this as effect. But it's possible. I'll get another monster on the field. Landforest, because sometimes again you need a Link monster and it's just a generic monster too.
You mean Linkosaurus?
That's a good one. Nightmare Phoenix, because of course you're a Nightmare Phoenix. The Cherry Beasts, I already talked about that. And then the last one is Draco Berserker of the Tenyi. Another one I rarely use because you need Adhara, which is the level 1 Tenyi, and a level 7 Tenyi. So you don't see it that often, but it is a quick effect banish of a monster. It doesn't negate, but at least banishes the monster. And the other effect is when it attacks a monster, gains the attack, attacks again. So it can win you the game, but I tend to win game with the boss monster making a token of my opponent's monster. So like Eldritch, you get 5,500 on the field. It's pretty crazy. This deck is very good at actually being able to OTK because it can actually just like get so much damage on the board with having such high attack monsters at length 3. So yeah, I get it. I get a lot of OTKs. You clear the board, you get little pops everywhere, and then you just all attack directly for 8,000. I've done it way too many times. It's very fun.
So is there any cards in here you would want to remove or add or reduce the numbers of?
Yeah, so obviously you can probably tell this is a budget deck. This is a lot cheaper than many other decks because I think all the best cards, all of the Tenyis are like 50 cents if I'm correct, maybe even $1, but most of them are like even 20 cents actually, especially like Shathana. But if I were to get rid of some for like, I guess Harvey's Feather Dust or Lightning Storms, I wouldn't do Lightning Storms like a side deck, but I don't know, I'm pretty satisfied with this. I actually like the way it is. I've debated on using, what's the second Vanity's guy?
Vanity's Ruler?
Yeah, I've debated on using him. Having 1 tribute is really good because while you can like put a bunch of monsters in the field, typically 7 is the number you put on. So that's 4 for your 4 for your boss monster, 1 because you need a non-effect monster, and 6 would be your Vanity Fiend. So that's like 6 cards you're using already. So that's like the consistent number of summons you get in a turn. But
you run into Nibiru a lot?
I don't run into Nibiru a lot. Actually, I think I should say is the spell card makes your monsters unaffected by monster effects. That actually makes you immune to Nibirus on your non-effect monsters.
Wow.
I didn't know that, but that's actually really good. So playing that first instead of the end of the turn can actually help you against the Nibirus. Because at least you won't lose a link 3 with it. You'll still lose like your summoner maybe, if you're like in the middle of that combo. Because again, you are summoning a line because you Tenyi, link, into summoner. That's 5 summons and you only got link 2. So yeah, you'll probably run into it a lot. But if you can play around it by trying to get your non-effect monsters out when you have your field spell, you can play around it because most people don't know that. Most people don't know that Nibiru makes my non-effect monsters not tributed.
Yeah, I didn't know that. All right, well, let's get into a test hand. All right,
It's so funny if you misplay.
do a couple shuffles. That would be funny if you misplayed.
Like I'm locked into war monsters and I just summon a non-war monster. It does fuck me sometimes, especially when I have to get a link on the field.
I'll cut whenever you're ready. All right. Good luck to you, sir.
So, I guess I'll just show you the cards. Oh, that's a rip off the bat. Alright, that's a save.
Are you primarily going first or going second?
First, because you want advantages to lock them. So, the main thing is you need your Mermare in the graveyard before you do Pot of Desires. That's a big thing, because you don't want to banish your Mermare. So I typically want to get this off first. So I would special summon him to the field, immediately go for Link 1. At this point, play that card. This should allow me to mill a Mermare and add a Tenyi to hand. If they do ash this with this hand, I guess I'll just Pot of Desires afterwards. So then I would want to send Mermare. Oh, right at the bottom. Send Mermare, and I'd probably just throw. It doesn't really matter which Tenyi to put the hand. It's gonna go to the grave. So going for maybe target protection could be good. I'd probably go Shathana. So that way if a non-effect monster is destroyed, I can summon it back to the field. So that goes in my hand, that goes to the graveyard. Special. Actually, no, I didn't probably Pot of Desires now. Why not?
Pot of Dog?
Pot of Dog. 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Is 10 too high for you?
2 5s. Mash ball over there. And look at that, 5 cards still. I already control monsters, so I can't do that. This is a little late for that, which sucks. I'll go ahead and do that just in case that Nibiru comes out. Special into a double link for Summoner. Now I should say, since I actually haven't used this effect, but if I do banish him for a Tenyi, I'm locked into Worm monsters after that. So I would like to do, if I do any non-worm links, I would like to do that now. I don't think I will though. I'll activate her effect, discarding the brick to summon Mermare. And then immediately do a triple token. So at this point you have effect monsters, so you can't special summon this one to the field just yet. So I would link these 3 for a non-effect monster. At this point, I got 3 and then 3 links. Obviously, I can go to the boss monster. I guess I'll go in special summon though. Yeah, I think that's probably what I would do. I'd probably just link him along with the 3 tokens to get the boss monster out. And I might have to end my turn there. So this is a decent board. I have a Pod Desires for next turn, which is always good for next turn. You have to target him first because he's a non-effect monster with his effect. I can make a token whenever you play any monster, and this makes it unimmune. Or sorry, it makes my non-effect monster unaffected by monster effects.
And if your opponent special summons, you draw 2.
As long as I have the non-effect monster, that's one key thing.
Okay.
So if they end up getting rid of this and then special summon, I wouldn't be able to draw. But
if they did special summon, what would your 2 be?
If they did special summon, I would be able to get terraforming another one. This one lets me get one of the banished back to the hand. I realized I could have used this effect. I just don't know what that would have gave me because another monk on the field doesn't really do anything here. So I figured I'd save that for next turn. I can also return to the hand if they ever do play anything on the end of my turn. And if they end up destroying this, I can banish this to bring it back to the field in a monster zone, which is really good. So yeah, if they end up getting rid of that somehow, it comes right back to the field. They can't use monster effects on it. They have to target it, so you can't imprint this. This is actually a good wall. I didn't really know actually.
Yeah, it doesn't look like much, but
I would do this and be like, oh, I guess I have my turn. This is actually pretty good. I mean,
yeah, the Tenyis and Grave really are the backbone of the deck.
Yeah, honestly. So like this could have been the green one, making it to where my opponent would lose 1500 attack. It could have also been the red one, to where if you target it, I negate.
All right, man.
The card. So yeah, pretty decent hand actually.
Anything
what
else?
would have made it better was a Vanity Fiend.
Oh yeah. Vanity's Fiend would have been awesome.
Because then I would have had 2 monks in the field and a Vanity Fiend, making 2 targets you'd have to attack.
Yeah.
Or target to destroy.
All right. Well, anything you want to add?
I think it's pretty good. Yeah, Tenyies are fun. I went against a Tenyi player. He was playing Eldritch Evil Twins. And as soon as I played one Tenyi, he goes, oh my god, is this pure Tenyi? I said, I don't know. I proceeded to win 2-0 against them. Really fun, actually. I like playing Tenyies. It's very... each hand is different. Like, even though like I got the same hand, what you can do with that hand is very different. Like, you can do many options with that hand and end with a different board. And there's a lot of things you can do. I'm sure there would be some way that you could been able to get that monster out and get the banish whenever your opponent does a monster effect. Even, I mean, there probably wasn't a way for doing a Chariot Beast, but that is another option that you could do at some point. Yeah, you still got 3, or 1 card, but if they special them, which they will, you'll get those 2. And then you'll draw another card next turn.
And then you put
which
it
is
out.
an amazing card. Yeah, Tenyies keep going. That's the thing I've noticed, is that they keep drawing the cards. Like, say they clear your board, say they do Super Poly and do some bullshit like that. Next turn, you still have all this, so you just keep it going. Like, you can get this board back up like next time, because say they do disrupt your board, all this goes to the graveyard. Summoner's effect gets him right back out again. And since your opponent has a monster, you get an effect token, which you can link for more stuff.
Who gets him right back out?
Summoner.
Who the fuck is Summoner? Oh, the link too?
Yeah, link 2, because you just discard your terraforming, summon it back to the field.
Ah, oh got it, unfocused. Okay, gotcha.
Very powerful deck. So if they don't win the next turn, you come right back and then you attack them directly for 8,000. Like, it's very, very fun.
And I guess Virtual World, with True King of all Calamities calling attributes and all your Tenyies in hand having different attributes, it doesn't.
That does help because unless he... Well, actually, how does Calamities work? Oh, I guess
so when they hit the field, they'll change attributes, but in your hand,
Gotcha.
you can activate anything they didn't
call. If they
call.
know how to stop you, they say Dark. If they don't, you banish this from hand to return Calamities to field. So that's Calamity's gone.
Yeah, but Calamities, even if they activate it and it's removed from the field, it'll still go for the rest of the turn. They just won't change attribute once they hit on the field. But if they call Dark or something, you cannot activate any Darks. Which
Correct.
for you is still fine.
If they do call Dark, you can't do that. If they don't call Dark, I return it, right?
Yeah, and then you're fine.
So yeah, then you get Calamities back on the field if they know what they're doing. But if they don't, they can go back to the hand, I guess.
All right, you guys heard it here first. Tenyi's the best rogue deck of the meta.
Really fun, boys.
All right, sign out for me.
Signing out, Gravy Master card.